Hola, muy buenas a todos, ¿qué tal? Soy Raven y aquí continuamos otro día más con Gabriel Knight. Vamos a continuar por donde lo dejamos, en la droguería, después de que se fuera la señora esta que hablaba de cosas extrañas. Y bueno, recordemos que en el capítulo anterior estuvimos en el lago donde se habían producido los últimos asesinatos. Y también estuvimos haciéndole un interrogatorio a nuestro amigo Mosley, que nos dejó unos dibujos, de los cuales hicimos unas fotocopias en la comisaría sin que nadie nos dijera nada, ni a nadie le pareciese extraño. Y donde también le quitamos o le tomamos prestada su placa, que ya usaremos convenientemente. Y bueno, vamos a seguir por aquí a ver qué nos tiene que contar el tendero Willy. Vamos a echarle un
The
vistazo.
proprietor doesn't look especially friendly. His business probably doesn't depend on walk-ins.
Tiene una tienda que da un poco de mal rollo.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This the Dixieland drugstore. And I own it. Me. Name's Walker. Willie Walker.
Vamos a empezar a preguntarle por el vudú.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
Do you think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These is novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they magic, it's not my concern, you know?
Claro, no tiene pinta de que es nada de vudú. Debe insistir.
Are you telling me that you own a voodoo shop, but you know nothing about voodoo practices?
Ça n'est pas ça faire blanc.
Bueno,
What
insultando
does
ya.
that mean?
It means you should mind your own business, monsieur.
What do you think of New Orleans?
I live here all my life, me.
No me dice mucho de Nueva Orleans.
What do you think of New Orleans?
If you're not from around here, monsieur, you should sign up for some tours.
La gente por aquí no es muy educada.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons, boas, so I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
Vamos a preguntarle por el mismo.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
How did you get into this kind of business?
Now, why should I discuss my business with you, man?
¿Veis lo dicho? Que no es muy simpática por aquí la gente. Voy a preguntarle por Madame Cazanus.
That customer of yours, the little old lady.
Customer?
The woman I saw in here, Madame Casino, you called her.
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
Yo insisto que soy un poco pesado.
It's important that I talk to Madame Casino. You see, I'm doing some research and...
I can't tell you anything about her.
Pero vamos, que no me va a decir nada. Asesinatos vudú.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Capriçonco.
What did you say?
Nothing. Them killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
Cabrit Sancor.
What did you mean when you said Cabri Sanko?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
Este está ocultando algo. Ya vendré aquí de nuevo a sacarte algo. Vamos a ver qué tienes por aquí. Letrero.
The sign says, Special St. John's Eve Lagnia. Free bottle of lover come back to me oil. Or master gambling oil with every purchase over $50.
Lagniap. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
Regalito extra. Gratis. Botella de aceite amante. Vuelve a mí o de aceite maestro del juego por cada compra superior a $50. Muy bien. No tengo ni un duro, o sea que Letrero de no robar.
The Dixieland drugstore has a rather terrifying way of dealing with shoplifters. Garlic, cloves, and other dried goods and spices are collected in the bowls.
I know where to come if I ever have a vampire problem.
The entire shelf is stocked with containers of Hyde John the Conqueror root powder. The shelf holds containers of dried items,
Huesos de gato negro.
flowers, grasses, and black cat bones.
I'd have to smell those if I opened them. I don't want any of this stuff.
Pues llévate unos huesos de gato, hombre.
The poster advertises a voodoo play from last fall.
Un
It's
maniquí
a
que es
mannequin
un
wearing a
cocodrilo.
crocodile mask. The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
Una cabeza real de cocodrilo. Muy bien.
To get the mask, Gabriel would have to buy it.
Pues nada, parece que poco más hay que hacer por aquí. Este hombre no nos cuenta nada. Pues vamos a ver si esta tienda... Museo Vudú. Está abierto también. Ayer era domingo y estaba todo cerrado.
Welcome, my friend. Hello. I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
Percusionista Rada.
A street drummer has settled outside the museum.
Si lo uso,
Gabriel can't do anything with the drummer on the street.
no me deja usar el percusionista. Ventilador.
There's a beaten-up old fan in the window. It's silent at the moment. The fan might operate, but not in that way. The fan is entrenched in the window frame.
Interruptor. Vamos a darle aquí a lo que sea.
What does this do?
Turn that thing off.
Oh, sorry.
We have air conditioning, you see.
Yeah, I see.
Santuario. Esta tienda también tiene bastante buena pinta. Las calaveras.
The voodoo shrine is filled with items that both fascinate Gabriel and also make his skin crawl.
Bueno, vino, ataúd.
This coffin is so small.
Unas cuentas por aquí. Muñeco vudú.
It wouldn't be much of a voodoo museum without a voodoo doll.
Es una mano o algo así. Vaya tela. Una calavera.
Wonder who that poor bastard was. Magenta moonbeam. Voodooian.
Sacerdotisa vudú. Esto me lo llevo.
A flyer advertising Magenta Moonbeam, a local voodooian. Her parlor is on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine.
Esto es una máscara de una cabeza. Bueno.
Will that look sacrilegious?
Una vela azul. Un busto de alguien. Madre. Esta gente se le ha ido. Seguro que tampoco es de vudú la tienda. Calavera.
Reminds me of a book critic for the New York Times. Looks like Jack Nicholson.
Se parece a Jack Nicholson. Tronco de los deseos.
An official voodoo wishing stump. Rub it and make a wish, a card says.
Funny, I say the same thing to women.
Vamos a frotarlo.
I wish Malia Getty were mine forever.
Vaya
Really?
esto.
I mean it.
What was that?
Huh? Nothing.
Totem.
An authentic-looking pole marks the center of the room. Authentic what? Gabriel isn't sure. The pole is solidly connected to the floor.
No me dejan llevarme el totem. Vamos a ver qué más hay por aquí.
That must be Marie Laveau.
Marie Laveau. Cuchillo.
Something about the shape of that knife gives Gabriel the creeps.
Yeah, right. I'd probably cut my own head off with that thing.
Cogerlo ya no me va a dejar ni vamos.
Gabriel doesn't want anything to do with that knife.
Muro, no sé qué, pintura, bandera. Vamos
A
ver la
beaded
calabaza.
gourd is on display. A
Una
very
serpiente.
large, very formidable-looking snake is secured in a plexiglass cage.
The python is quite dangerous. I would stay back if I were you.
Thanks for the advice.
No me acercaré, tranquilo.
The snake is too far away.
Pues nada, vamos a ver al
Dr.
Dr.
John is a huge man. If his manner weren't so pleasant, he'd be intimidating.
Vamos a usarle.
Given the man's size, that doesn't seem advisable.
Vamos a hablar con él.
Could I ask you a few questions?
That is why I am here.
Asesinato.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper. I know they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
Vamos a preguntarle otra vez.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate. And for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
Vamos a preguntarle por Nueva Orleans.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It is the only city in the United States, as far as I am concerned.
Qué explícito.
What is it about New Orleans that you so admire?
It has a real culture of its own, Mr. Knight. Amid the horrid blandness that is Americana, New Orleans alone has a voice.
Spoken like a true New Orleanian.
Víspera de San Juan.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in voodoo.
Vamos a preguntarle otra vez.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before voodoo came to New Orleans.
Pues no me ha dicho mucho. Cabrit Sanko.
Do you know what caprice and call means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
Ahora no lo sabe nadie. Serpientes.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum snake, Mr. Knight?
Sí, sí, me he fijado.
They are beautiful creatures. Do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Más serpientes.
Is this snake yours? Do you use it in your practice of voodoo?
I admire the spirit of the snake, Mr. Knight. But snakes like the museums can be quite dangerous to handle.
You didn't really answer my question.
I think I did, Mr. Knight.
Máscaras de animales.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I used to have some antique African totem masks, but they were on the point of disintegration, so I removed them.
Más máscaras de animales.
Are you sure you can't educate me further about animal masks?
Unfortunately, I do not know much about totem masks. The practice was more African than American, and that is not my area of expertise.
Okay, thanks.
Bueno, vamos a preguntarle por él mismo.
Tell me about
A ver
yourself.
si me cuenta algo interesante.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Museo vudú.
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
Antecedentes vudú.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us just say I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No, the museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
Estoy yo por montar un museo de estos también, a ver si me hago rico. Creencias religiosas.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Uy, que me ha llamado profano. Pues nada, vamos a
Actually, I
preguntarle
can't
lo
think of a
interesante.
thing.
Then let us discuss something else.
Por el vudú.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo, or the voodoo currently practiced in the city.
Pues el vudú histórico.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Cuéntame todo.
Sounds good.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion, formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importings of slaves from that region.
Más vudú histórico.
So how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian Revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
Más vudú histórico todavía.
What happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou St. John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Great Zombie. Cuéntame más.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
By 1817, the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons, and the place, Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances, right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Pues vamos a preguntar por Marie Laveau.
Tell me about Marie Laveau.
There were actually two Marie Laveaux, mother and daughter. Most people thought they were the same woman. Her continued youth added to the mystique. The original, the mother, was also known as Widow Paris. It was she that began the empire.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, but the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
Y vudú actual, que es lo último que nos queda.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in the religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I personally am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo, but it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Hoodoo.
What exactly is hoodoo?
Eso, ¿qué es eso?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the gree-gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
Bueno, pues parece que ya nos ha contado todo lo que sabe sobre el vudú, Marie Laveau y todo lo demás, el vudú histórico,
Goodbye, Dr.
el
John.
actual.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.
Pues nada, vámonos. Y a ver, ¿qué sitios tenemos? Residencia de Montbean. Y la mansión GT. Pues vamos a la residencia Montbean.
A sign on the front door of Magenta's home reads, Attuning with the
Ya
Spirit
está,
Realm,
cerrado.
back on June
Armonizándome con el
22nd.
reino de los espíritus. Pues nada. A la mansión. A ver qué podemos hacer por aquí.
May I help you?
Vamos a tocar al mayordomo.
Better not try that. The man looks ready to whip up an army at the slightest
Qué
notice.
agresividad. Vamos a hablar con él de buenas maneras. Vamos a preguntar directamente por Malia.
I'd like to see Malia Getty, please.
I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you.
Hombre, asuntos oficiales, pues...
I do have
sí,
official
tengo una
business.
placa.
Really? Please tell me the nature of your business.
me crees? Te voy a enseñar yo aquí asunto oficial. ¿Dónde está la placa? Ahí le
My
tienes.
name is Detective Mosley. I'm here on police business.
Really? How interesting. Wait here. I'll inform Miss Getty. Miss Getty will see you. Right this way.
Si no hay nada como tener una placa. Mira, se cuela donde quiere. Bueno, vaya casita tiene.
Miss Getty will be down shortly.
O la alfombra con el
Thank you.
tigre este o el león. Es un poco hortera la alfombra. Bueno, el cuadro del fondo también es bastante hortera. Como cotillea. No rompas nada que hay que pagarlo.
What can I do for you, detective?
Pues nada, vamos a mirarlo.
Undoubtedly proof that there is a God.
Gabriel is trying to impress the girl. Now make her gag.
Bueno, no la podemos usar. ¿Y tocarla?
I'm trying
Lo
Trying
estoy
what?
intentando.
to reach the truth.
Esto en movimiento se levanta, se sienta. Arte moderno.
Modern art?
More or less. It's a Picasso.
Picasso.
Beautiful women. They must be relatives.
They are.
Chimenea.
The only thing Gabriel's likely to burn here is his bridges.
It's rather warm in here, isn't it?
Eso,
Oh, I'm
toma
sorry if
indirecta.
you're uncomfortable. The fireplace doesn't really give off much heat without the stove insert, so I indulge myself, even in the summer.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's the
Eso es
fireplace
una
anyway.
indirecta.
Gabriel's hot enough.
Me
I
llevo
can
a la mesa.
rearrange things once I move in.
Roses and gardenias give the air a sweet taint.
Escultura.
Nice statue. I like it.
Thank you. It's The Rebellious Slave by Michelangelo. The only thing Gabriel wants to mess around with in his room is Malia herself.
Me voy a llevar la estatua. Luego la vendo por ahí.
It would be rude to take that now, but Gabriel makes a mental note about it for the
Bueno,
prenuptial.
ella se ha hecho idea. Ahora sí, vamos a hablar con ella.
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Getty?
I assume that's what you're here for, Detective.
Empezamos con el vudú.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
La verdad que la chica es muy guapa.
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, Detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
That's what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced.
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh? Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable.
Vamos a preguntarle por Nueva Orleans.
Tell me about your life in New Orleans.
The Getty family came to New Orleans in 1800. We worked very hard to get where we are. On the other hand, we've done a lot for this community.
I can believe that. You're doing a lot for me right now.
Víspera de San Juan.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I believe it's some sort of local holiday, but I don't know much about it.
Marie Laveau.
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
I've heard of her, of course, but that's about it.
Aquí aquí nadie sabe nada.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Sankao means?
No, I don't. What does it mean,
Pues te lo estoy
detective?
preguntando yo, es que no lo sé, hija.
That's confidential information, ma'am.
Serpientes.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm no expert. I don't fear them like most people do.
Máscaras de animales.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Animal masks? I don't know what you mean.
Nada, esto tampoco nos está ayudando mucho. Vamos a preguntarle por asesinatos vudú.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, detective.
Vamos a preguntarle por ella misma.
Tell me about yourself.
Cuéntame cosas.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know,
Todo, toda tu
detective?
vida. Intereses.
What kind of things interest you?
I don't have a lot of free time, but I do appreciate the arts. Opera, symphony, ballet, fine art. If you look around, you'll see that we collect African art, for example.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It is, detective. It means a great deal to me.
Vamos a preguntarle por su carrera.
Do you have a career?
A career? Being the head of the Getty family is a 24-hour-a-day job.
Sí, claro.
We have many holdings and
Trabajo
many
24 horas al día.
responsibilities,
Ser cabeza de
financial
familia.
and
Tendrá vergüenza.
otherwise. The management of our business affairs and properties leaves me with time for little else.
Si eres rica, hija.
Poor little rich girl?
Believe it or not, detective, wealth does have its price.
Pues nada, su familia.
Tell me about your family.
The Gettys? We're a very private family.
How many people are there in your family?
Well, my mother just passed away.
Oh, I am sorry.
So am I. She was a magnificent woman. We were very close. I was an only child.
And your father?
I never knew him.
It's hard to believe that any man would leave a woman like you, or like your mother must have been.
He did not leave, detective. But that's really none of your concern.
I'm sorry. Go on.
There are, of course, other Gettys in the city. I have a large extended family.
I see.
Aquí vamos al salseo. Marido, novio.
Do you have a husband, boyfriend?
I'm very independent, detective. The women in my
Independientes que
family
no
have
tiene.
always preferred
Vamos
it
ahí al
that way.
ataque.
So, you've never been married.
No, and I never will be.
Ni falta que me hace.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
Ah, no se quiere casar, pero quiere tener hijos. Cuéntame lo que sea.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I have a business degree from Vanderbilt. I wanted to study psychology, but my family's interests came first.
Oh, why not something like law, then? Surely that would have been an asset to the family.
Law? Please. I do have some morals, detective.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Bueno, vamos a preguntarle cosas
As you wish,
interesantes
detective.
sobre el lago. A ver qué
Can you
hacía.
tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could. But I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake. And I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Vamos a coquetear con ella.
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting.
Vamos a ir
I don't
lanzando
think
la
I've ever
caña.
seen a color quite like that brownish gold. It's so deep and rich. Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Menudo
Thank you,
poeta.
detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
A good detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Getty.
Es todo
Then
un
you
galán.
must be truly exceptional at your job.
Lo soy. Vamos a seguir
I
coqueteando.
can't help noticing that you're in incredible shape, Miss Getty.
Bueno, bueno, bueno.
Your legs are so strong. Do you work out at one of the
Se
clubs
está
by the
calentando
lake?
ya.
Well, Detective, I do enjoy physical activity.
Oh, me too.
Actually, I was referring to swimming and modern dance. I can't say that I do much exercising at the lake, though.
Ah, well, it was worth asking.
I think this has gone on long enough. You're not really a
Nos ha pillado,
detective,
pero
are
vamos.
you?
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Getty.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
Te ha pillado.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Nada, se acabó la
Malia,
conversación.
wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out. Robert? Show Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will.
Thank you very much. I had a lovely time.
Pues
Ah,
nada.
shit.
Hemos intentado echar la caña, pero no le ha salido muy bien. Eres muy hábil, Gabriel. Así que nos vamos a ir a dar una vuelta por algún sitio que no hayamos estado, como la residencia. Bueno, antes quiero probar una cosa. Voy al museo.
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Que quiero enseñarle la escama, a ver si, como él tiene una serpiente, a ver si...
Perhaps Gabriel should learn more about the scale
no se la
before
quiere
showing
mostrar.
it to anyone.
Thanks a lot.
Pues me voy.
Bye now.
Come back again.
Vamos a ir al cementerio. A ver qué tenemos por aquí. Plantas, un ladrillo.
Near the Laveau tomb is a piece of red brick. Undoubtedly a cast-off from spiritual graffiti writers.
Bueno, un ladrillo siempre está bien también. Que nunca se sabe. Vamos, hijo, cojo el ladrillo, que no es para tanto. Ofrendas.
Food, trinkets, and more unsettling things have been left at Marie Laveau's tomb as offerings from believers.
No thanks.
No, no quiere nada. Vamos a ver la placa de quién es
A
esto.
plaque on the tomb reads, Laveau.
Esta tumba de estilo griego se dice es el lugar de entierro de esta notoria... Ah, bueno, sí, ya verás. Yo
A
aquí leyendo-
plaque on the tomb reads,
No, no lo dice. Notoria reina vudú. Un culto místico vuduismo de origen africano llegó a esta ciudad desde Santo Domingo y floreció en el siglo XIX. Marie Laveau era la más conocida entre los muchos practicantes del culto. Pues le tienen el mausoleo este fino. Está lleno aquí de pintadas y demás.
Odd-looking marks adorn the Laveau tomb wall.
Pero yo que soy muy listo, yo todo lo que veo lo copio en mi cuaderno. Hala, a copiar.
I want a copy of these strange marks.
Gabriel can put his sketch back on the
Ya
wall.
las has copiado, muy bien. Pues nada, muy bonitas. Ya no servirán para algo. Tumba, tumba, salir a la tumba. Estatua, jarrón, reja. Vamos a las tumbas. Mira, mausoleo de la familia de Malia.
An angel draped dramatically over a stone plinth marks the entrance to a large tomb.
Qué dramáticos.
The imposing tomb is elaborately labeled Getty. Two enormous vases flank the front of the Getty tomb. Gabriel looks at and in the vases, but he doesn't see anything he wants to take.
Pues nada, no queremos nada de aquí. Vamos a ver qué
Another ancient family tomb of the type St. Louis Cemetery is famous for. Most of the plaster has fallen away over the years to reveal walls of red brick.
Vamos a volver. Hombre, tenemos aquí al vigilante.
An old man tends the cemetery with movements akin to a slow drawl. The name Ross is inscribed on this old tomb.
My family's tomb is down that way, past the Ross tomb.
Ah, mira, la tumba de su familia está por ahí. Bueno, está bien saber. Vamos a hablar con el vigilante. Qué trabajo más tranquilo.
I'm
No
sorry
te
to
molesta
bother
ni
you.
Dios.
You got something to say, son?
Vamos a preguntarle por el vudú.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
Muy bien, eso me tienes que contar. Vamos a ver Nueva Orleans.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Seem like everyone wants to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives. And they love the cemetery tours. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
Muy bien. Víspera de San Juan.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Where St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of voodoo. Sometimes we get weird goings-on in the cemetery on that night. More often on a few nights before. People taking grave dirt, bones, and who knows what.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Don't know what they do in them, but it can be pretty.
Pues nada, vamos a preguntarle por los asesinatos vudú.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Isn't it just awful, them finding those bodies with the voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody trying to cover their tracks is all.
Serpientes.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them aren't poisonous, of course. I don't mind snakes myself, but lots of folks are afraid of them.
Cabrit Sancor.
Do you have any idea what Capri Sancor means?
Nope, can't say that I do.
Nada, eso no lo sabe nadie. Vamos a preguntarle por máscaras de animales.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Por el cementerio de San Luis número
Tell
1.
me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins will float
Vaya
right out of
fiesta.
their grave.
Todos ataúdes flotando por ahí.
Them dead go floating right down into the Dakota. Of course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice. It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War. Back further, too. Take a look around. You'll see.
Vamos a preguntarle un poco por él mismo.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis number 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, of course, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound, they don't know what they doing.
No, vamos a preguntarle por Marie Laveau.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Sure. She was the voodoo queen of New Orleans, a powerful voodooienne and a powerful sorceress. Believers still come to her tomb, you know. They write secret marks on the walls, leave offerings. Then there's the tourists. They come out of curiosity. As a matter of fact, that big Dr. John fella from that voodoo museum,
Así que el doctor
he's
John
here at least
viene por
once a
aquí
day.
todos los días.
But Marie Laveau's tomb isn't the only one the believers visit and make markings and leave offerings at.
Otras tumbas marcadas.
You said there were other marked tombs?
Yep, I've seen bull hearts left on tombs and a nest of vulture feathers, plates of peas and corn green,
Está fatal.
animal parts, human parts
Partes
even it look
humanas
like,
dejaban en las
male
tumbas.
parts, if you get my meaning.
Partes masculinas.
And this is one of the great family crypts, mind you. Odd how them types just pick a spot and stick to it.
Vamos a ver si nos cuenta algo más de
Tell
él.
me about yourself.
That's about all there is to say.
No quiere contar nada. Pues nada. Parece que de momento hemos terminado aquí. Vamos, creo que a... Bueno, nos queda el mirador. Y ya está. Y la residencia de Montbéliard.
A sign on the
Ah,
front
verdad.
door of Magenta's home reads, a tuning
La
with
residencia de Montbéliard no.
The sign says the overlook's closed for
Ah, verdad que
repairs
también
until
está
June
cerrado por
21st.
reparaciones. Pues nada, me voy a mi tienda.
Hey, Grace, here I am.
Oh boy, party time.
Y bueno, gente, creo que es un buen momento para dejarlo, ya que ha sido un capítulo bastante largo. Hemos tenido conversaciones, historias de vudú, actual, histórico. Así que creo que va siendo hora de guardar la partida. Guardamos. Guardar. Y lo dicho, vamos a dejarlo por hoy aquí. En el próximo capítulo seguiremos viendo dónde nos llevan las aventuras de Gabriel. Y a ver qué líos le trae haberse hecho pasar por policía. A ver si su libro avanza algo. A ver si podemos entrar en alguna tienda, en la que sea. Y a ver qué más. Así que ya sabéis, like si os gustó, podéis dejar en comentarios lo que queráis. Y nos vemos en el próximo capítulo. Saludos a todos, chao.